Hello, everybody. Welcome to Eagle Chat Transfer Services. My name is Jana Weiss. I'm the Student Life Coordinator for Online College, and I'm excited to have our guests with us today. If you could first go into the chat and click on that link and um, register and give us your attendance, that would be perfect. Today, we have three special guests with us. Eddie Ortiz, Paul Ash, and Pamela Walls, who are all part of Transfer Services. Eddie and Pamela are out of Central, and Paul does online students, and he also works with Coleman students. So please help me welcome them, and please keep checking in and make sure that you've checked in for our attendance. Welcome.
Thank you for having us, Gina.
You
Yes.
are
Thank you.
welcome.
All right. So good morning. I am Miss Walls, and I am the transfer coordinator for the Central Campus. We are located in the W.W. Harmon Building in Suite 112. So the goal of the Transfer Services Department is to help students transfer from Houston City College to the university of their choice. So we help with the application process. So if there's anything in regards to the application that you're stumped on, just not very clear about, we're here to help. And so one of the things that we can help with is the statement of purpose or an essay. Not all universities require an essay, but some do. And so the purpose for your what you should be included in your state of purpose is that's going to be your opportunity to explain maybe some extenuating circumstances that occurred around your academics. You want to point out something that's maybe unique to you and your academic background, and share some valuable experiences that you may have had in regards to your academics. The statement of purpose is not meant to be a listing of accomplishments from high school and or college, or a record of your participation in school-related activities. It is your opportunity to address the admissions committee directly to let them know more about you as an individual. And so I have two sample essays here. And so in this particular essay, I helped the student with at the very beginning of her academic career, she was doing really well. And then kind of in the middle, because in the beginning she was making A's and B's. And then in the middle, she kind of went down to a 1C and a D. And so I asked her, well, what happened at this particular time? What happened in this particular class where you ended up making a D? When clearly I see that you are a student who can make A's and B's. And so she explained that there were some things that were going on at home. And then in the class that she made a D in, she didn't follow the instructions carefully when it came down to her submitting her final exam documents. And so the first time she submitted it, that's when she recognized she didn't follow the instructions. And then so she submitted it a second time, and the second time she submitted it, it was done correctly, where the instructor only graded the first submission. She went through the process of trying to get the grade change, explaining herself to the instructor, but to no avail. So she decided to retake the class. And so that's what she's pointing out here in the essay, is that, she recognized it was a mistake on her part. And so she owned up to it, and she decided to retake the class because she knows that she can make, she could have done much better. And then in the beginning of the essay, she talked about financial hardships. And so that's why she decided to start here at the community college or at Houston City College versus going off to a university. So this is a sample essay here. And then I have another sample essay. So this student, he pointed out that he's an immigrant. And so he talked about his experiences in high school in his country. And then he stated in his country, the opportunities academically aren't there as they are here in the US. And so he had to make the decision to leave his family and come to the US, and he came all alone. And he talked about how hard it was for him in the very beginning. just getting acclimated to things, and he didn't do as well as he could have, but he turned things around. He gave some examples of him. He wants to go to school to be a cardiologist, and so he shares his experience with shadowing a cardiologist at a hospital. So I made a suggestion for him in this section here, where he mentioned that he enrolled in the university solely to prevent having to be going to the military. So in his country, it's mandatory military. So he went to school where he didn't get any credits. And so I suggested to him to maybe delete this portion of it. And then here down at the bottom, I suggested that here where he put UT Austin to spell out the university's name. It may be appropriate here at the end had he mentioned it maybe somewhere here where he spelled it out, but he did not. So these are just some of the things that we help you with the essay. So we're here to help you. I do recommend that students go to the writing lab to help with the structure of the essay, and then also for grammatical areas. But we're here to just help you think about what it is that you can include into your essay and to help you get that essay going. Any questions so far about the essay? So we also help with academic resumes. And so with an academic resume is where students point out their accomplishments within their academic career. And then you can also state like volunteer information. So here is a sample here. And so this particular person, she wasn't really participating in things on campus. And so that's one thing when it comes to the resume, and that will be helpful for students when they're ready to transfer, is to try to get as much volunteering done as much as possible, and then participate on things on campus events. And it shows that statistics show that students who are really active in school do much better than students who do not participate in different activities on campus within school. But this is a student where she made the dean's list, and this is the young lady with the first essay that I showed you all. So as you can see, she's made the dean list, and so that's really important to point out. She talks about her relevant coursework. She talks about being consistently on the dean's list. She points out some of her skills academically, technical, and her interpersonal skills. And then she also mentions here some extracurricular activities. And so these are some of the things that you would want to include on your academic resume. And then this is the second essay. This is this individual's academic resume. And so again, the student talked about being on the dean's list. And so what I suggested here, where he was on the dean's list 2 times, like the first academic resume I showed you, to include your dates, or even if it's just the year. It doesn't have to be a month. It could just be the year. Honors list, again, go back and add your dates here. And then the students, a part of the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, participated in the Math Olympiad. So these are just some of the accomplishments here. This student volunteers at the food pantry and at church. Here he talks about, he included in his resume about shadowing, but he also put it here on the academic resume. Volunteers at the animal shelter. Here the student put his work experience, where he's customer service rep at his job. I suggested maybe deleting that, because we want to focus on your academics. And so I suggested that he delete this portion of it. Any questions about an academic resume? No. Okay.
Well, one thing I just want to kind of add is you do have to do an academic resume for most medical programs, which kind of surprises students. They'll have a meeting with me and they'll say, what is an academic resume? Like, I didn't know I had to do something like that. And then furthermore, you have to get reference letters. And that kind of sneaks up on students. That's just another thing I want to mention in context is you're looking at it and you're thinking, well, do I have to do it? And then the answer is maybe. So we can definitely help you with that.
Thank you, Paul. And so transcripts. Parchment.com is where you all can have your transcripts sent electronically. to the universities that you're applying to. Always remember that you must include official transcripts. If it's in an envelope, it needs to be sealed. It cannot be opened. If it's sent to you in an email, you cannot open up using the link. Otherwise, it would be considered unofficial. But some students do not know where to get their transcripts or how to order their transcripts. So, of course, we give that information as well. And depending upon your which campus will be determined where your enrollment services is located, but you can also order transcript through enrollment services at your campus. And so I mentioned earlier about students encouraging students to visit the writing lab. And so this is how you can access the writing lab, and all tutorial services are offered through Houston City College. And there are several options. You can meet virtually for your tutorial sessions, in person, or you can submit your assignment through Upswing. But these are your options that have been made available to you all as a student at Houston City College. And I highly suggest that you all take advantage of all the services that are offered. But that concludes my presentation as far as some of the services that we offer. Mr. Ortiz will walk you all through scheduling an appointment with transfer services.
Hi, y'all. I'm Eddie. I work here at Central with Miss Walls, and I'm here to guide you to Career Hub. So we all recognize My Eagle homepage, right? And at the way bottom, if we scroll down, keep scrolling all the way down, we're gonna see this one link that says Career Hub. Now, if I click it, unfortunately, it's not gonna show me anything. But on your screen, it's gonna look totally different. Let me go ahead and pull that up for you guys. I'm stop sharing for a bit.
While he does that, one of the things I always like to kind of give or impart as like a metaphor is a lot of students will ask, well, when should I start thinking about transferring? And I kind of liken it to a vacation. Everyone wants to go on a vacation. It's a very easy thing to say. But once you start kind of hammering down the details, that gets a little bit more tricky, right? So the answer is just like a vacation, sooner than later. That way you can make sure there's no hiccups on your journey. Okay.
So for Career Hub, we can schedule an appointment here for transfer, or we can do an appointment for Career Hub and for career services as well. So I'm gonna show you right here. Once you log in, it's not gonna look like this. It's not gonna have this sign right here. The reason why it has that is because it's my account and I'm an alumni, but we're just using this as an example, so that way I can guide you into doing appointments. It's quite simple. If you go up here in top right, this is going to show up. If it's the first time that you actually use Career Hub, it's going to be a small questionnaire asking, I think if it's if you're looking for a job, if you're employed, and if you're part-time or full-time. But once you're done with that, now you can just request an appointment. On here, we're going to go into type, and we're going to go down, and everything here that you see here, we do offer. Now, we tend to recommend students to look over them and to see which one kind of fits their description of what they want to do. A lot of times, a lot of students, when they do appointments, they should do transfer, connect with the university recruiter. Doesn't matter whichever one, to be honest. As far as for dates, we leave it as is. If not, you can always change it to a later date. And of course, it shows us time range. Lengthwise, technically they do last up to 30 minutes, so we always are going to put in 30 minutes. Sometimes they tend to last an hour. It just depends on what school you're going to go to and what are the requirements. Sometimes it needs a longer conversation. But usually 30 minutes, it's fine. And of course here we select what location. So we're gonna do Central for today. We're gonna scroll down. So the first part is gonna be all career center, career oriented. If not, there are some, yep, no, most of these is all career. If you scroll down, that's whenever you see transfer services. And so we can do central. Down here, you can see me and Ms. Walls. You can select both of us or none or just one. If you leave it blank, I think it should show you. We can see right now. So you can select in-person, phone, virtual. We also do offer walk-ins. So if you do a walk-in, you don't have to do an appointment. But on a day like this, and I think on Monday, yes, this past Monday, we were really busy. So unfortunately, walk-ins are kind of a little bit difficult. So we just recommend doing an appointment as we can guarantee those visits. So let's do one in person, and then we get to select the days. As for days, we are open Monday through Friday, so that's why it shows it like this. We're not available on the weekends, unfortunately, but we are available from 8 till 5. So in this case, we're going to use Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to see what days are available for us. And here we go. We have Ms. Walls and me. And so in order to, in this case, we're going to use Ms. Walls. Down here, it's going to tell you this. It's going to ask what format you want to reach us at. And here, I always recommend explaining what you want to talk about, so that way we can kind of go off of that and assist you further. So if I do want to talk about my personal resume, no, personal statement. And that's it. And after that, I will get an email on your student account saying that I have requested an appointment. And then it's up to Ms. Walls. If she's available at that time, she can then accept it or decline it. And is there anything else I can show him from here, Mr. Paul?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and click on the events tab, so that way you can see what we have cooking up in our department for the semester. So since we share the same interface with career, you're going to see both. So if you are thinking of, well, gainful employment, it's all in the same place.
Apologize. So I think we do have a workshop and an infrasection coming up. And for us, does it show up here? Does not.
Yeah, right there.
Right here. So we do have some events coming up later on in the semester. One of them is going to be talking with Lamar University. We do have some with more colleges. Another one will be Texas San Antonio. Later on, we do have, there he is, this one right here. So this is the one that I always recommend people to come to, especially if you're in a nursing program. As Mr. Paul said earlier, that a lot of students do come and they tend to be surprised by the personal statement. Well, there's other requirements that you might need to fulfill. For example, what was it? The
Academic resume.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, especially because a lot of the nursing applications open in early September. So by then, it's good to get kind of aware that you have, well, until the deadline, which is lost right now, but you at least you have a few months to get the reference letters. And yeah, the personal statement for nursing isn't too bad. It's not as in depth as the other two examples, luckily for y'all.
And so the purpose of the early application workshops is for those students who are applying to universities such as UT. If I'm not mistaken, their application is due in October, which is coming up really soon. So the early application workshop is to help students work on their application for those universities who have those early application deadlines. You have some universities like University of Houston downtown. That application is not due until sometime next year, but universities like Texas A&M, UT, and some of the others, those applications are coming up due really quickly. Soon, rather. And so we'll be there to help you with that application. You come to the workshop, we'll be in a computer lab, and we'll help you with that application. And that also includes that personal statement or that essay that is required, that academic resume. I'll give you some ideas on who you can get those letters of recommendations from.
We have somebody with their hand raised with a question.
Yes, hi, I'm Sophia. And to go back to what you said about the recommendation letters, when would be the best time to ask your professors for the recommendation letters?
Oh, like today, like when you're in class. I hear more often students going like, can you help me track down an instructor from 3 semesters ago? And a lot of our instructors are adjunct, which means that they only maybe work a semester here and then maybe they go back to their not main job, but teachers kind of jump around. I even had the same philosophy teacher at UHD and HEC. So the answer is today. Yeah. Just kind of start that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Now, also keep in mind that it's not always just in letter that the instructor may have to write. Some of these universities have forms that are really in depth, that really ask some questions, that the instructor really needs to know something about you. So you really need to start, if you have not already, develop rapport with your instructors so that they are able to fill out a form. I had one student last semester, I had 2 students, one in which the form was pretty easy, and so I was able to help. He couldn't find an instructor, but based upon our conversation that day and me looking at the classes that he's taken and his grades, I was able to complete one for him. But then I had another student where the recommendation form was lengthy and it was like in detail, and I just was not able to complete that for him. And then he was having trouble getting instructors to complete it as well. So that is a really good question as far as when do you need to start? And as Mr. Ash stated, today.
Yeah, you're going to say pretty much the same thing. It's a lengthy process, and these are human beings. And, when a student gives me a giant folder of paperwork, I'm reticent. So you have to kind of get them to agree, first of all, right? It's not a guarantee. So great point, great question, and great feedback.
Okay, sorry, to add to that as well, is there a certain amount of recommendation letters that you need for the colleges?
Usually it's 3. Okay. Yeah. Maybe it's 4 in some places, but I'll give you $1 if you can show me that. But usually it's about 3.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
Ania?
Yeah, hi, my name's Hania. Basically, I just want to ask about recommendations too. Like colleges started like 1 week ago. I don't know if and this is my first year in college. Like the recommendations I'll be needing is for like next year because I will be transferring, right? So I don't know if like 1 year of schooling with a professor, I don't know if our bond's gonna, be better. Does that can I ask like my high school teachers for recommendations too? Or is like that's not right? I don't know.
That's a good question. I wouldn't see an issue with it personally. It really depends on the specific program you're getting into. Generally, college instructors will tell me what's your focus going to be when you transfer.
I'm doing pre-med right now, so I'm gonna be transferring for like to U of H, University of Houston.
So for that program, you would just most likely be doing, unless you have like a bunch of credits, we can kind of, get into the weeds together at another time. But generally, that's just going to be a regular transfer where you just send in a transcript. When I'm talking about the recommendation letters, would be getting into med school itself or getting into a diagnostic imaging program at MD Anderson or a nursing program, which would require you to have about 45 to 60 credits. So if you're just transferring to U of H, just, dipping in here and then going over there, it's going to be very straightforward, especially for U of H.
All right, got it. Thank you so much.
And
No
then
problem.
also, I'll make sure that you also establish a rapport with your advisors. Sometimes students kind of go from one advisor to the next, but if you can stick with one or two advisors, they may also be willing to complete a letter of recommendation for you as well. And then also, I had a instructor encourage his class. When establishing a rapport with your instructor, maybe try to take that one instructor more than once. So maybe take that same instructor for English 1 and 2, or the same instructor for history 1301 and 1302. That way, you know, the instructor can be familiar with you and you're building that rapport. So those are just some examples or some of the ways that you all can start developing rapports for those of you who will be needing those letter of recommendations from instructors or, you know, other staff members on campus.
All right, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Are there any additional questions? So if you all would, I know Mr. Ortiz just walked you all through the steps of making an appointment with us. And so we would really appreciate it if you all would go through those steps right now with Mr. Ortiz and go ahead and schedule an appointment. It's okay if you're not able to make it or if you need to reschedule, but we are tasked with ensuring that all students are aware of how to schedule an appointment. So that would really be great if while we're here in this session that you all will go ahead and schedule an appointment with any of us. And it doesn't have to be with Mr. Ortiz or myself. It doesn't have to be with Mr. Ash. We have other coordinators and specialists throughout the college system. We have Ms. Battle at Stafford and West Loop. We have Mr. Aaron and Miss Christy Hillier at Southeast. We have Ms. LaShonda over at Northwest. She covers Spring Branch, A-Leaf Hayes, and Katie. So Mr. Ortiz, if you would go through those steps one more time a little slowly, and if you all would please so kindly go in and follow the steps and schedule an appointment. And again, it's okay if you would have to reschedule or if you're just not able to make it, it's totally fine. We just want to ensure that you all are able to schedule an appointment.
All right. So once we're here in Career Hub one more time, we're gonna go to the top right where it says schedule career/transfer appointments. Once you click on here, you might ask a questionnaire about your employment. Once you're done with that, then we're gonna start requesting a new appointment. And right here in the drop-down box, usually I'll say students go over it, figure out exactly what fits them better. Usually a lot of times, like I said, it's a connect with university recruiter, or sometimes it's usually review university applications, depending if you made up your mind on one university or a couple universities. If it's just one, connect with the university recruiter would be your best option. Again, select the days that you are available. It automatically selects it for today and 2 weeks from now. After that, you select the time that you want. We usually just leave it blank. I mean, you should leave it the way it is because these are usually our hours anyways, except for this supposed to be at 5. And then after that, you select the link that you wanted. Again, we should recommend 30. There's no way we can probably lower everything down to 10 minutes. It's pretty much unrealistic. So 30 minutes will probably be the best option. After that, selecting the location that you might want to come to by scrolling all the way down and selecting transfer services. Like Ms. Wall said, of course, there's transfer services pretty much in all campuses. If you don't want to select Central, for example, East Side, we have Chrissy and Aaron. They're both equally pretty well at transfer. And then after that, you get to select the type of meeting you might want, in person, phone, or virtual, and you get selected days. Again, it's only Monday through Friday. Unfortunately, we're not available on the weekends. And after that, we check the availability. And from here, for example, if you say, you know what, Wednesday doesn't work out, let me skip the next day, you can always go to this arrow and it will just go over to the next day. And again, you say, you know what, Thursday doesn't work for me. And then you check out Friday.
And over to the right are the
Mhm.
time slots.
Yes. Yes, right. On the right side, you get to see the times available. And these are the at this hour, at this date, she offers in-person, phone, or virtual. And also when you select her, you'll be able to see what kind of format do you actually want to confirm on. If it's virtual, phone, or in person. If it's in phone, we usually give you the call. If it's virtual, we set up usually a WebEx meeting, yes. Or depending on the transfer specialist, they might want to do a Teams meeting. Of course, you get an email all about that. And again, please say what the appointment is going to be about. If it's personal statement, resume, going over applications, finding out the admission process for any colleges that you kind of have like an idea that you want to attend to. Or just any questions that you just want to put on here. That way we can start answering them. But whenever we start the appointment. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
Thank you so much for presenting today on transfer services. I just want to let everybody know that if you check the chat box, you can get free t-shirts for attending today. If you fill out a form, I'll mail you out a t-shirt. And you can also take a survey, let us know how we did, and you can be put into a drawing for free wireless noise canceling Bluetooth earbuds that we give out at the end of August. So on next week, I will be drawing names and sending out winner information to mail those out to people. And as always, check out eagleengage.hccs.edu for more upcoming events. I hope this was helpful for everybody and hope to see you at more events coming up throughout the semester. Thank you, Transfer Services, for coming and providing this vital information.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
having
I think
us.
someone is typing in the chat.
Yes.
Is there a
Deborah
question?
is typing. Says
Oh,
thank you.
thank you.
Just adulation. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, how wonderful
oh,
y'all
can
are.
I, if I may add, if you don't feel comfortable asking a question in the chat or anything, please email us. We're more happy to just answer the questions one-on-one.
And more importantly, schedule an appointment.
Yes, more importantly, please schedule that appointment.
Yes. The earlier, the better to get you on the right track to transferring. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and we'll see you at our next event. Bye.
Bye.